Hello, this is Chris Gannon again. I was talking to Carl Schoof the other day from Greensock, and he'd been listening to the podcast, Rob Levin's podcast, the SVG immersion, and Rob interviewed me, and we were talking about portability of files, and the fact that the SWF format, Flash format, was great for lots of things. Portability was one of them, and one of my complaints, in the interview was the fact that there just isn't a portable file for you to just deploy anywhere on a server. It has to be a sort of a group of files, CSS, JavaScript, HTML, and it all gets a little bit chaotic and a bit messy and that sort of thing. Carl Schoof from Greensock, I probably mentioned him already, said he listened to it, and he had been talking to Elliot Geno. I'm famously becoming useless at knowing what people's surnames are. And he was talking to him, and Elliot suggested that you can actually embed JavaScript in the .svg file format, which is amazing because it means that you can encapsulate everything into one file. And to prove this, Carl sent over one of my animations, which was the SVG flying saucer, and it just runs. It's got Greensock, it's got TweenMax embedded in it, and it's also got the Draw SVG plugin, which I use for the sort of the speed lines in the background, and it all just runs beautifully. I mean, I even emailed it to my iPad, and I can look at it on my iPad. So it's and the performance is brilliant. So I wanted to basically. I got really excited about it, and I deconstructed the whole thing, and I worked out that you can also put fonts in there using base64 encoding and all that sort of stuff. So I just want to basically show you. You'll be happy to know this is nothing. Illustrator does not feature in this, because if you open up a file that you've created by copying and pasting from CodePen, which is what we're going to be doing, then it gets rid of all the names and it just messes it up. So what we're going to do is, or what I'm going to show you, and I've only done this once, so bear with me, it'll probably go wrong, is take the SVG graphics and the JS and anything else that we need, and we're going to embed it all in one JS file. So let's get started straight away. So this is the one we're going to use, SVG Rainbow Rocket Man, because I wanted to do a different one just to make sure I understood the whole process. So you go to go to one of your pens that you've spent ages and ages building and making good. Sublime Text. And I'm just going to first of all open up a new one, and then I'm just going to save it as you'll notice I've already got a Rocketman one there, but I'll call it demo_Rocketman .svg, and I'm just going to save it. Okay, so we now got an SVG file. I'm going to go back to CodePen. This is only going to include SVG, so you'll notice that I've got a div container. We don't want that, so I'm just going to select the entire SVG tag, go all the way to the bottom, and select that all. Yeah, so that's all selected. Copy it, go back to my file and paste it in. Okay, and then save it. Right, so let's go to there's my demo Rocketman. I'm just going to open that with Chrome, and there it is. It's not animated yet, but it's there. There's no errors. You'd see an error if there was one. So you've already copied all of your hard work from CodePen into like a self-contained file. So this is good. Next, we're going to add the JavaScript files that it uses. Now, if you go to the JS cog, you'll notice I'm using the Draw SVG plugin and TweenMax, Greensock's TweenMax. So the first thing I'm going to do is copy that and just paste it into. In fact, I've already done it here actually. If I just paste it into there and go in there, this is TweenMax. It's free to distribute, I think. But anyway, I think it pretty much is. So you select all that. So if I select all that, copy it, and then I'm going to go into my SVG file. Right. It has to be inside the SVG tags, obviously. So if you go to the bottom, so if you go to the last one, just add a little bit of space there. Now it needs to go in a like a script tag, and then all of that JS needs to go in a C data tag. And I've completely forgotten how to do that, so I'm just going to go to my other one. Oh, and it's script. There you go. Look. So we're just going to take that from my other file. So we do script type equals JavaScript, and then I can just close that off. And I'm also going to just put in a little tag to say what it is. So this is tween max. This is just a comment just to remind me what I'm putting in. All right. So I'm just I've lost that on my clipboard now. So I'm just going to go back to the CDN, copy that, go back into my demo Rocketman, and then paste that in, and it's a massive gob. Oh, hang on, I forgot what I've forgotten. I've forgotten my C data tags. So this allows all of the text that's in the script to be parsed by the SVG file. So I need to, and I actually got this. I've actually got this on a screen on an iPad next to me because for the life of me, I cannot remember this syntax. So it's open thingy bracket, exclamation mark, square brackets, and then you put C data. Hang on. C data, and then you put all your gubbins in, and then we're going to close it with that. So I think that's right. Is that right? Oh no, I missed off a. Yeah, there you go. Right. So that's the syntax for a C data tag, and now I can paste that entire stuff in as a string, that entire plugin in as a string, and there it is. Okay, you can see there's this whole gob of tween max stuff. Okay, so that's the tween max plugin in. So if I just save that, we just go back to the actual SVG in the browser and run it. Nothing's happening, but we're also not getting any errors, which is great. Okay, so the next thing, obviously nothing's happening because we've not copied in. If we go back to the actual code pen, just shut that. We've not copied in any commands from the actual JS yet. We've just copied in the plugin. Next thing we want to do, go back to the JS and copy in the next plugin, the Draw SVG plugin. Now, one thing you have to remember, if you are using this on CodePen, this plugin only works on CodePen. If you are a Greensock club member, then you will probably have the Draw SVG plugin on your drive somewhere, which I have because I'm a member. So you can't just copy this and then just paste it in there. Oops. And use that. Use all this. This is the Draw SVG plugin. You can't use that because it will only run on CodePen and various other domains. So I'm going to need to just go to my file system, and I'm going to just go down here. I've got a Rocketman demo down here. Oh no, hang on, I didn't put it in. What an idiot! Right, I'm just going to go and find it on my drive. If I'm going to do Draw SVG. Right, there we go. So I've just opened that up, and this is a version that's a paid-for version. So I'm going to copy that, and I'm keeping all the comments about the author and everything as well. Go back into my SVG, go to the bottom of tween max, the tween max entry. Got to remain within my C data tags, which are here. I've got to remain within those, and I'm also going to put in a little. Don't forget we're in JavaScript land now, so I can just put in a little comment here saying Draw SVG plugin, and I'm going to paste all that in as well. Okay. So save it. Go back to browser. Go back to my Rocketman demo, and just refresh it. Yeah, all is cool. No errors. Obviously there's no animation yet, but there's no errors, so that's cool. Let me just shut that. Right, next, back to CodePen. get rid of that. And now we want to just copy all of the JS. Now, one thing you got to remember here is all we're doing is copying. All we want is JS that refers to SVG. We don't want to be copying any code that refers to DOM elements like divs or anything like that. So, like this container is a div. I'm going to copy everything anyway, and then I'm going to delete it. So I'm going to copy it all. See, this is all my stuff. This is all my animation stuff. Yeah, I'm going to copy it. Go into my Rocketman SVG. I'm going to put in another little tag saying end plugins, just so that I know where things are, and I'm just going to paste that whole lot in. Okay. Now currently I've got references to things that aren't there, but I'm going to save it and just show you what happens. So I'm going to go back to the SVG, refresh it, nothing happens. Let me just pull up the console, and it's saying it cannot twin a null target. And the reason is because container doesn't exist. So if I get rid of that, and I'm also, this just basically, it's just a centering, I just use it to center the SVG, but you wouldn't need to do that, because if you have an independent sort of SVG encapsulated on its own, then the page in which it sits would govern how it was displayed. So you don't need any of this. I just use that for making it pretty and in the middle on CodePen. So get rid of that, save it, go back, refresh. Oh, and it works! I can't believe it works, but it does. Anyway, so that works. Now, there's one thing that's missing, and I've obviously, well, not obviously, you should never say that during tutorials because it's not obvious, but the background color is governed by CSS, and it's the background of the page. Now, in SVG, you don't really have that, so what we're going to do is we're going to go back into our Rocketman SVG, go back up to the actual SVG graphics, right up to the top, and we're just going to put in a rectangle that is the background color. So we're going to we want it after the definitions. So this is right on the sort of bottom layer. So we're going to do rect. The width is I think this is 600 by 600. This, so we're going to 600. The height equals 600, and I think the fill equals, let me just go and check on CodePen what it is. 1D, 1D, 1D. There you go. Hash 1D, 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 and then we'll just close it. So now we've got a rectangle graphic that is now our background. So if we go back to the demo Rocketman SVG, refresh it, and now we have it. You got your background, everything's animating, it's all cool. At the moment, I've just noticed that there's a font there, which is probably making a call. Let me just go and check. I've only just noticed that. Let me just go and check in the code. If I do actually no, sorry, what we're talking about, it'll be in the graphics, not in the JS. So there's going to be a text, unless I've done it as a graphic. I can't actually remember. Let me just do a search for text. No, that must be a graphic. So anyway, but what I'm going to do also is, if you want to include a font, you can actually do that as well. So let's do that. So if you've got a font in mind, then head on over to Font Squirrel, fontsquirrel.com/tools/webfont-generator, and you can upload a font and convert it to a base 64 string, which means it doesn't have to load it from a server. It's actually embedded inside your SVG. So if we go to upload fonts. Now this, I actually happened to be testing this out earlier, and this is like a sort of it's like the system font for the EMU well, I don't know what it is actually. Emulator, I don't know what it is. Anyway, it looks sort of computery. So I'm going to open that. I probably don't have a license for this, so I don't suggest you do it unless you've got licenses for it. I'm going to say yes, I'm uploading it illegally, whatever. Expert. Now, I read on Stack Overflow you need to, for true type hinting, you need keep existing, although I don't think actually when we're using true type, but anyway. Head down and base 64 encode, yeah? So this will create a string, a massive string, which basically is the font. So download the kit. Blimey, that's taken a long time. Oh, there we go. Right. So that's downloaded. I'm just going to open it and get rid of that, and then open up the style sheet. This is where it'll be. So open up the style sheet, and inside, there it is. There's a huge string of that is the font. If you notice, look, I'll just go all the way along. Okay, so that's your font basically. What we don't want is this reference to a true type font. So, but I'm going to copy all this anyway. Copy that. So let's go to a Rocketman demo. Go right to the top, and just under the opening tag, we're going to add in a style tag, and then we're going to close it. Okay. Looks pretty normal to most people programming CSS, sort of inline. So just stick your C data stuff in, and then you can go back to your style sheet that you downloaded. Yeah, back to font face. This is Emu Logic Regular. Okay, copy that in there. Back to Demo Rocketman and paste that massive gob of stuff in there, and just quickly delete that reference to the true type, because that's actually trying to reference a file on the server. Let's just go and check that nothing's broken. All is well, no console errors and no main SVG errors, so that's cool. So now we could, and we will, add in at the before the plugins and stuff. I'm just going to add in text, and we're going to say x equals 50% and y equals, I don't know, about 90%, so I'm putting it in the middle and at the bottom, and I'm going to say I think there's in the details of this pen it says must stay in contact, something like that. Text. Okay, let's just save that. I should really purchase Sublime Text, that's terrible of me. Right, and you can actually see it here, look. So it's not styled or anything, it's basically text in there, but it's in there anyway. Let's go back to Sublime Text. Let's head back up to our CSS tag, and I'm going to, do you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to give this a class name, so class equals my text, for want of a better name. Right, go back up to the top, and I'm kind of guessing this probably still needs to be inside the C data tag, so I'm going to do dot my text, and we're going to style it. So font family is Emu Logic Regular. Let me just go and check in the style sheet to make sure that, yeah, it is Emu Logic Regular. Okay, and we're going to do text anchor. That's like text align, but for a middle. This is it's like text align center, but it's SVG way of doing it. Text anchor middle, and we're going to give it a color of oh no, it's not color, it's fill, isn't it? Fill is we'll give it a, I don't know, antique white. Yeah, let me just test that. So there you go. Let's just move that down. In fact, I'll go back down to the text. and I can just move that down to 90%, so this probably looks a bit better. There you go, a bit more maybe, 93. And I think it's actually a bit too big, so we'll go up here, 21, let's say, 18, something like that. Okay, so now you've got a font, all your graphics and all your JS all encapsulated inside a JavaScript, inside an SVG file, which is completely portable. So now I can basically send this. Let me just refresh that. So I can save it. I can save that out to desktop, and I can now just email that to anyone, or I can just run that opening Chrome, and it just runs, and there's no, let's have a look at the network. There are no network calls. Let me just refresh that. Oh, hang on, what's that? Oh, that's just the font. Yeah, so that's pretty cool, eh? So, I mean, I think this is probably quite a big development in terms of, I mean, everyone needs advertising, but the whole advertising space is moving away from the SWF format, which is encapsulated, and the SVG format seems like a perfect alternative. Yes, the tooling and yes, the creation and everything is at the moment is riddled with holes and bottlenecks, but the actual format, the SVG format itself, is actually flexible enough to contain all the things that you need, fonts and graphics, and presumably if you want to include images as well, you can put an image in there as a base 64 encoded image. Right, okay, yeah, one last thing. I'm going to go back to my demo Rocketman SVG, select it all, yeah, and I'm going to go to SVG OMG, which is Jake Archibald's SVG optimizer. I'm going to paste that entire file that we just made in. Magically it's working. I can't believe it's working, but it is. And there it is. It's running in the browser, and it's showing you all the things that it's basically optimizing it for you. And this is kind of, if you notice, it says 147k, which isn't bad really. But if you gzip it, you're getting that whole animation down to 62k, which is cool. Anyway, I hope you've learnt something from this. I have, and it's useful for me to have gone through this again. And I'll hopefully see you soon. Cheers.